score at Cincinnati. The Browns 27, the Bengals 24.
The 1983 Cleveland Browns film is dedicated to the memory of Nate Watt.
Hell, man, I love everybody. Huh? What a game.
Nate was a man who loved the Browns and the game of pro football.
Good start. Here we go.
Let's go. Hurry up, Howard. Set. Go. Push back. Head across. Move your feet. Bring your arms through, Chip.
Receivers, when you're a slot and they stand and they give you this coverage, they can't play that coverage.
When you're involved in cloud support, you still must read before you support.
Come on, with the ball now. Let's go.
You cannot let anybody penetrate. Everybody get their hats off the ball.
The sounds of summer as the Cleveland Browns prepared for the 1983 season.
That's it.
Amidst the maelstrom of colliding bodies was the calm of Coach Sam Ritigliano, who called this edition of the Browns his best. But by season's end, the team was out of the running, barely missing the playoffs. To some extent, football is an indoor game, resembling the world of academia as much as athletics. Endless hours are spent in conference rooms, where the coaching staff meets, then addresses a squad divided into offense and defense. From there, the team is broken down into units by position for limitless amounts of classroom instruction.
And once we're getting there, we're looking at the receiver so much, but we're never seeing it.
Yeah, but what does it tell you, though? What does freak tell you? That's right, you're freak.
In the summer of '83, the coaching staff's biggest assignment was the introduction of a new system on offense. Their biggest decision came at quarterback. The team had two, both of whom had taken the Browns to the playoffs.
Well, let's do it your way.
Hot, hot! The choice was between Brian Sipe, a 10-year veteran and 1980's NFL Player of the Year, and Paul McDonald, 9 years younger, the heir apparent. Preseason performance would tell the tale.
5 on one, ready?
Football is a chess game. The players are the pawns to be moved at will. From the brain center in the press box high above the action, the Browns introduced a new wrinkle in sideline communications, the wigwag man.
Red left slot, scat left. 368, F shoot. Red right. 844. Low 24, lead.
Joe, the way the corners are playing now, we go red left, 787, and let's go on this corner right here. Bobby on this guy out here on 20. Yeah, they have it all day.
In preseason, Cleveland won 3 games, including one over the world champion Raiders. When the season began, the coaching staff, in a close contest at quarterback, was singing a familiar tune, Brian's song.
Paul McDonald is a very good quarterback. He's a very talented guy, and I respect him more than I'm around him. And someday he'll be a very good quarterback in this league, but right now he still has to learn a few things from me.
The new offensive scheme began strongly, and the Browns won 3 of their first 4 games. In Detroit, Brian was razor sharp, breaking Frank Ryan's career record, throwing 4 touchdown passes, including a beautifully conceived and executed misdirection play, which turned a tight end screen into a touchdown.
got blocking 10, 5, touchdown! What blocking on that play?
Just 4 nights later, on a Thursday evening, Ozzie Newsome's great catch beat the Bengals.
Touchdown, Newsome! He juggled and held on.
In a game that wasn't decided until the final minutes, the Browns had defeated a division rival before a nationwide audience and a throng of 80,000 plus. Another squeaker was against the Jets, where Joe Klecko and Mark Gastineau were manhandled by the offensive line. With close to 300 yards, the air attack produced big plays but few points. The Browns' only touchdown was scored on a spectacular catch by ex-Jet Bobby Jones.
Throwing deep, man open, touchdown, Bobby Jones!
He left his feet and made a spectacular catch, and the fans have something to cheer about here.
The score remained tied at 7 until just 6 ticks were left on the stadium clock.
6 seconds left, chance to win it. Kick is up, it's far enough, it is good! And time has expired! The Browns defeat the Jets 10-7. 44-yard field goal by Matt Barr.
Barr led the league with the 4th best field goal percentage in NFL history. But it was a kick he didn't make that helped beat Houston.
Fake, McDonald throws, man open, Deacon, touchdown! Doug Deacon caught it! How about that? He'll never let us forget it.
I'll tell you, he'll keep that ball forever. Doug Deacon hits a home run.
The Oiler game proved to be yet another cliffhanger. This one won by rookie running back Boyce Green, whose 239 yards included the winner in sudden death.
Touchdown! Boyce Green explodes for the touchdown, and the Browns have won the ball game.
The dramatic victory was the Browns' 7th win in overtime, the most in the league since sudden death was adopted 10 years ago. But the Oiler game was just one of 2 overtime thrillers for the '83 Browns. In San Diego, 2 of pro football's most explosive attacks traded pass for pass, touchdown for touchdown in a memorable football game. Cleveland was paced by Brian Sipes' 327 yards for 3 touchdowns, and a defense that shut out high-powered Air Coryell in the 4th quarter. In sudden death, rookie tight end Harry Holt showed the raw talent the scouts had raved about.
25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, the game's over! Browns win the ball game on a pass to Harry Holt. Unbelievable!
Amid the exhilaration of their 3rd straight win, the Browns had growing confidence in their new offensive system. The presence of tight ends Holt, number 81, and Newsome, number 82, in the lineup at the same time took pressure off Ozzie, who now was no longer double or even triple T. The result was a stunning season in which the Wizard caught 89 passes, the NFL's 2nd best, and broke Gary Collins' 12-year career record. The Wizards' credo is simply, "This ball is mine." Ever since Paul Warfield's retirement, the Browns had been seeking a quick, big play wide receiver. An off-season trade with the Dolphins may have brought one at last. Duriel Harris, the 2nd leading receiver in Miami's history, has been clocked at 4.5 in the 40 and represents the deep threat Cleveland has lacked through the air. Paul McDonald era has arrived. The youngster with the strong left arm will be the trigger man of the Browns' passing attack in 1983. Like his predecessors, McDonald will benefit from what is traditionally one of the superior pass-blocking lines in the game. The emergence of number 61, Mike Babb, as an overpowering center, and the ascendancy of Cody Rison as an all-pro tackle rekindled respect for run blocking as well. It was the best since the Rutigliano regime began. Led by guards Robert Jackson and Joe DeLamalure, the sweep was extracted from mothballs. It was a throwback to the golden days of Kelly and Brown, only now in the new one-back attack. Mike Pruitt was the weapon.
Spins away at the 3 to the 2. He is down on the goal line. Touchdown! What a play by Mike Pruitt!
The setback lines up deeper in the one-back formation, an advantage which allows him a better read of the blocking lanes and permits him to pick the path the defense has given him. Though Pruitt was Cleveland's keynote runner, he shared the workload. Charles White was eliminated with a preseason knee injury. That gave an opportunity to an obscure 11th round draft choice. And number 30, Boyce Green, took center stage by showcasing breakaway star quality. In his first pro start, Green ripped the Steelers for 137 yards rushing, the second highest total ever in Three Rivers Stadium.
He's down to the 15, cuts the right sideline, broke a tackle, 5, touchdown! Boyce Green!
That young man showed some ability. He made some great cuts on that run.
The season also marked the debuts of a trio of promising rookie offensive linemen, Bill Kantz, Paul Farron, and Tom Hopkins. They earned their spurs on special teams, which featured Captain Curtis Weathers and an assortment of deadly tacklers, like baby-faced Matt Barr, number 9.
The most important statistic of all is giveaways and takeaways. We have to have the least amount of giveaways and the most amount of takeaways. All the other statistics don't mean anything. Those are the only two that count.
Sipe's going to throw it out to Pruitt. Intercepted! Intercepted by Green, alignment to the 50, to the 40. He's going to go all the way for a touchdown. He took it right out of Sipe's hands.
That's the ball game.
In Cleveland's 7 defeats, Sipe threw 18 of his 23 interceptions. Figuring Cleveland's season was simple. When the offense held on to the ball, the Browns won. The mistakes were nearly camouflaged by a Cleveland defense that steadily came into focus and grew stronger as the season progressed.
On defense, go to the football. Everybody, go to the football. 6, 7, 8 orange hats on every single play. Go to the football.
The 3-4 is a defense geared to stop the run. Cleveland stopped it so well, it wasn't until the 15th week that an opposing ball carrier, Earl Campbell, gained over 100 yards. In 15 games, no other enemy runner achieved the century mark. Not the Chargers' Chuck Muncie. Not Franco Harris on 2 tries. Not Kurt Warner, James Wilder, Tony Collins, Pete Johnson, or Curtis Dickey. Not the Lions' Billy Sims, as the young aggressive defense sent runners hopping in frustration. In only his first full season at his new position, Bob Golick was chosen as an alternate at nose guard for the Pro Bowl.
Dickey under pressure. It's intercepted, taken out of his arms, and a touchdown. It's Golick. Golick scores the touchdown.
With Golick in the middle of the line and inexperienced but impressive Reggie Camp and Keith Baldwin flanking him at either end. The Browns longed for veteran leadership.
Doing a hell of a job, I'll keep on working, baby!
The Eagles' All-Pro end, Carl Hairston, number 78, came in an off-season deal and brings both the fierce pass-rushing ability and maturity needed on a line where the three starters have played together just one season. There also have been off-season changes in the Browns secondary, where three newcomers are expected to compete for starting jobs. The first two picks in the draft were safeties Donnie Rogers and Chris Rockins, while highly touted cornerback Frank Minifield joins the NFL. The three rookies are added to a veteran group comprised of 1983 starters Mike Whitwell, number 21, Hanford Dixon, Lawrence Johnson, and Clinton Burrell. The design is for a close covering, hard-hitting secondary with considerable impact. The kind of people capable of intimidation without being intimidated, like cornerback Hanford Dixon, number 29, who can take on a team's largest lineman and still get back in the flow. But in the 3-4 defense, the linebackers are the key. No team can match Cleveland's trio of Tom Cousineau, Chip Banks, and number 57 Clay Matthews. Three tremendous talents with the ability to dominate games. Matthews bounced back from surgery to lead the team in sacks, but a broken ankle subtracted the core's most consistent member, Dick Ambrose. The Browns played without aggressive number 52 for 10 games, but his replacements verified the team's talent at linebacker. Both number 51, Eddie Johnson, and Scott Nicholas did well in Ambrose's absence. In his second season, Tom Cousineau blossomed into the dynamic force Cleveland thought he'd be. He led the team in tackles, interceptions, and fumble recoveries. And number 50 didn't let a little thing like double teaming take him out of a play. Chip Banks got the press, but Coos was more consistent. Emerging as one of the top linebackers in the league, he earned postseason recognition, including Cleveland's Defensive Player of the Year. Postseason honors poured in for Chip Banks, number 56, with little wonder. With a flash of his head, Banks can fly by a blocker on the way to the quarterback, and his opponent's backfield is his natural home. Banks personifies the hard-hitting, big play performers that now populate the Browns' defense.
Big play, D! Big play! Come on, Chip!
He lost the ball. It's picked out of midair. It's Chip Banks. Banks, touchdown.
All right! Okay! All right! Way to go, baby! Way to go, guys! It's a young defense, as I said, but I think this defense is going to be a lot better before it's over with.
Sam didn't know how much better. Against Tampa in the 11th week, James Wilder barely reached the line of scrimmage as the Browns tackled in swarms. 5 to 6 orange helmets to the ball on every play. The defense had given football's hottest runner the gate and earned Cleveland its first shutout in 10 years. The next Sunday, the league's leading ground game was the target. The Patriots' Tony Collins managed merely 48 yards as the defense again stole the show, intercepting 5 passes and knocking Steve Grogan out of the game on a blitz by Tom Cousineau. Chip Banks turned the flutter ball into a 65-yard touchdown.
Chip Banks to the 50, to the 40, to the 30, 20. Touchdown, Cleveland. 65 yards. Cousineau's the man who hit the blitz and hit Grogan as he threw it.
The Browns thrashed wild card rival New England 30-0. In a season where offenses hung boxcar numbers on stadium scoreboards throughout the league, the Browns had the rare distinction of achieving back-to-back shutouts. home against the Colts, the team earned its third straight lopsided win when the leading receiver in Browns history made one of the most spectacular plays of the year.
Newsome, and he got the ball, breaks a tackle to 40, 30, 15, and...
With their highest point total of the season, Cleveland appeared to be closing in on the playoffs. Next came road games in Houston and Denver's Mile High Stadium. A win in either place would put the Browns in postseason play. Unfortunately, super rookie John Elway chose this day to come of age. Retigliano watched helplessly as the offensive errors that haunted the team earlier reappeared. Cleveland was held without a touchdown for the only time in the season. The one bright spot was Steve Cox's 58-yard field goal. It was the longest in club history, the fourth farthest ever in the NFL. 7 days later, grim pre-game expressions told the story as the Browns met Houston in a game they had to have. Cleveland had just 6 fumbles, fewest in the league, but Mike Pruitt, who hadn't fumbled all year, lost the ball 3 times. It put the Browns in a huge hole and killed whatever joy Pruitt felt rushing for 153 yards and 3 touchdowns in a desperate personal attempt to pull the game out of the fire. In a huge upset, the Browns' playoff hopes were severely damaged. With the playoffs out of their control, the Browns played Pittsburgh in the finale with some hope, but much pride. Something green had to grow, and the young defensive line did just that, ransacking Steeler quarterback 6 times. The team may also have discovered a burner to stretch a defense.
Blitz on against him, he just got it away. DeBelk got it, 30, 20, he's gone. He beat Mel Blount, 64 yards.
4 touchdown passes and a pair of interceptions on defense produced a 30-17 season-ending victory over arch-rival Pittsburgh. The results of your last game determine your attitude for next year, according to number 79, Bob Golick. His coach, encouraged by progress made, expects more in '84.
We're a team right now who's going to be competitively involved in a divisional race. We have to stay free of any key injuries. And the second thing is our guys who bat in fourth have got to deliver the runs.
The Browns believe they have the people to deliver those runs. The attack led by Paul McDonald will feature some bright new faces as well as some familiar old. On defense, Cleveland has the big play performers that make such a difference in the NFL. These are the Browns' big guns. They'll attempt to put a playoff team in the stadium by the lake in 1984.